Hello, everyone, and welcome to the program discussed here on Global Television. I am Samuel Odi. Many thanks for joining on today's edition of the program. As we said, to extray and have a conversation around a very serious matter, which is centered around political marginalization in Nigeria. We're going to be addressing those concerns based on research and information. Some people, some regions, or from the part of the country have actually highlighted incidents or scenarios where they feel they have been marginalized in a democratic, system of government, which is not supposed to be so. So we are going to be addressing those issues and then be looking at the key players within these sectors who would be able to change this narrative or have a reform in the mindset of people around political marginalization and sorting out the issues that may arise or that is arising within the political ecosystem. We've seen a series of reports coming around people saying they are being marginalized, and an election year, it's upon us. We'll be having an election coming up here in the capital next month, and then we'll be having conversations around those and how it can be, sanitized, how the political space can be sanitized, and individuals will not be having this mindset of being marginalized in Nigeria. We're going to be having that conversation, and I'll bring you a bit of background story for context, so we'll be able to have a proper conversation. In a country where democracy promises every citizen a voice, some voices are still unheard, from registration hurdles to restrictive laws. Political marginalization continues to shape Nigerians' election and governance. Political marginalization is not just a matter of failing to vote, it's a systematic exclusion from political participation. In Nigeria, barriers like delayed voters registration, age restriction, literacy requirements, and also sometimes intimidation leave millions of Nigerians without a say in their government. From rural communities to urban centers, stories emerge of citizens banned from exercising their democratic rights, which is a very, very big concern, and that's what's bringing us to this subject matter today. To understand the root of political marginalization, we'll be exploring legal, social, and technological factors that hinder full participation in Nigerians' democracy. So these are the major angles we will be looking at today on why we're having this recurrent statement by Nigerians, not just, the elites now, but those in the urban area, youth also complaining of not giving the opportunity or not being involved in governance based on the fact that we are seeing climate change and there is a whole lot of technological innovations coming up on a rapid, and still some persons feel that they are being left out with what's happening in terms of governance within the space, within Nigerian ecosystem. So we are going to be extraying all of this, we are going to be dissecting this, and we will be having this conversation immediately after this break at the time of introducing my guest who will help us extray this massive conversation. Stay with us, we'll be right back. Yes, many thanks for staying with us. If you're just joining, this is discussed here on Global Television, and we're about to extract the conversation around addressing political marginalization in Nigeria. And I have my guest here in the studio with me. But before I bring him up, let me bring you up to speed again, just in case you missed the first few minutes. A country where democracy promises every citizen voice, and some voices are still unheard. From registration hurdles to reactive laws, political marginalization continue to shape in Nigerians' election and governance. Political marginalization is not just a matter of failing to vote, it's a systematic exclusion from political participation in Nigeria. Barriers like delayed voters registration, age restrictions, literacy requirements, and sometimes intimidation leave millions of Nigerians without a say in their government. From rural communities to urban centers, stories emerge as citizens barred from exercising their democratic rights. To understand the root of political marginalization, now we'll turn to our guest, who is a public affairs analyst, a young youth who always advocates for youthful inclusion in governance, in the person of Abdullahi Muhammed. Many thanks for joining, and Happy New Year to you.
Thank you very much. Happy New Year.
Yeah, it's always good to have you, have here on set, having this conversation around political inclusion for youth, and also the marginalized communities and marginalized individuals that have alleged, though it is an alleged statement, some persons are being alleged that they are being marginalized and not being fully involved in governance. But looking at it now, we run a democratic system of government here in Nigeria, and do you think there are some regions that are being marginalized?
Yeah, of course, certainly you can't actually erase the fact that there is an act of political marginalization in Nigeria. Mm-hmm. It is very clear, it is very obvious, and it is an undemocratic process that we actually need to build on. Mm-hmm. I'll take you to the words of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Mm-hmm. He said he has a dream where his 4 little children will not be judged by the color of their skin, but with the content of their character. That's telling us that people should not just be judged due to religious bigotry, due to nepotism, due to tribalism, but we should actually incite competency, when bringing people to actually strengthen institutions. So these are the things we need to look at. Nobody is going to argue with the fact that there is actually political marginalization in Nigeria. So it's actually a field, or it's actually an area we should actually concentrate on, and also, shun all those. But I can tell you categorically that no matter what could be done, we will be having this kind of challenges. You will always hear an issue of tribalism. Tribalism doesn't just occur politically, but in the wider space it occurs politically, whether in the classrooms, normal human beings, individuals, even amongst ourselves, you see where, there is, issues of tribalism and nepotism. So I think it's actually a cause for us to take upon ourselves, to try to straighten those kind of issues. We should actually choose our leaders based on competency, based on pedigree, based on some of their giants, right? That's what we should be looking at, but not looking at someone that, this Yoruba, this Igbo. No, when you're doing something, you shouldn't, as a leader, you shouldn't look at someone as Igbo, as Yoruba, as Hausa, whatsoever, but look at everybody as one Nigeria. So that is the kind of leadership we tend to have in Nigeria, but that is something we are still craving for, and we wish by the special grace of God, the time is going to come. And I could remember when my boss asked Professor Lubumba, he said, do you think Nigeria is going to get better, Nigeria and the African region is going to get better anytime soon? And he answered, he said, it's not going to get better anytime soon, but let's start today. So it is actually an imperative decision for us to take. It starts from us, so we should take that kind of decision to, to have a change mindset. Positivity.
Yeah, having a change mindset is actually very key in terms of governance, and also picking someone with pedigree, like you said, and someone with a track record that I've shown. But looking at our political space now, do you think what are the main forms of political marginalization that we have witnessed today in Nigeria and even in Africa at large?
Well, specifically in Nigeria, you know, when you look at it, people are always, you know, specifically some of the people in the north, they are saying, oh, they've been abandoned after election, and they are the people that brought most of the votes for the president, the sitting president currently, and they feel, okay, they are marginalized. And in fact, there was a time His Excellency Dr. Rabiu Musa Wangoso was talking about that. I could remember vividly. I discussed on that topic, political marginalization, where they brought that issue. I think last year there's one Italian media that interviewed me. They brought that issue. So the thing is that the truth is that there's actually, when you look at everywhere, you could see that there's that issue of political marginalization. But I think one of the basic things and the most centered marginalization part is the northern Nigeria, you know. That is the part that people have been talking with annoyance that they have been dumped, you know, after the election and whatsoever. So, but certainly some of the issues are actually right when you look at it carefully. But I think maybe, you know, there are, maybe they could have ears and maybe they could make amend on that. But actually, certainly, you can't deny the fact that there's actually political marginalization in some areas.
Yeah. Talking about that, you know, in the East, so just last year, we saw when the tax reform was coming out, which was implemented by the presidency starting 1st of January. And then during the era of late President Muhammad Buhari, we saw people too from the East talking about them being, you know, neglected after election and also saying that in this current administration that they are not going to, you know, comment on what is going on in Nigeria based on the fact that they said categorically that they did not vote in the president, so they are not going to say anything. So do you think that all of these now leads to chaos that we are seeing over the years in Maiduguri? That's talking about kidnapping, banditry, and, you know, extortion that have been ravaging Nigeria a lot.
Well, you know, I can say issue of marginalization is quite somewhat different from the issue of insecurity. And
but do you think it can be led to insecurity?
Well, I think because you have been denied power, I don't think you should be on your, if you're on your right senses, because you have been denied power, then you should actually cause chaos and also actually bring issues of insecurity and whatsoever. But it could be. But what I'm saying is that someone in his right senses should not do that kind of thing. But actually, it's very important for leaders to actually look at a set of balance from each regions, you know, so that because you can't, no matter what, as far as a president of the country, each region contributed, just that maybe there are a certain percentage, the northern percentage might be higher than the eastern percentage, that's what you could see. But I think everywhere should actually be kind of balanced. Yeah. So and you could see it's not even by, sometimes not just by the appointment. There are also developmental strides. Let's say like infrastructure and whatsoever that has been carried out in each region.
Investment
so it's not exactly investment as well. So it's not just about the political role, but just that, you know, some people like power, and once maybe they make sacrifice in election, most times what they look at is to, you know, get that leadership positions. But it's not all about that.
And most times not just all about the people. But let's talk about national security, unity, right? As we can have the issue of marginalization and not talking about national unity. Nigeria is blessed with lots of tribes and over 36 states of the capital, so from different people from different regions. How can all of this now, do you think in any way that if marginalization from the north, you know, those from the north feel they are being left out, those from the east do the same thing, do you think that these can bring in a disunity within the nation?
Well,
if not treated.
Well, as I kept mentioning, like various times, I said the national unity is one of the important tools, if not the most important tool for national development. we need to actually work towards national unity, because it's one of the issue where it's one of the things causing issues. Issue of, as I said, issue of nepotism, tribalism.
Yeah.
And that reminds me, Martin Luther King said, and I quote, he said, "We must learn to live together as brothers, or we perish together as fools." So it's high time we learn to live together as brothers, irrespective of religion, irrespective of ethnicity and whatsoever. Yes, there are some people that are Muslims, you see that they are best friends, people that contributed robustly to their growth and development, and from the other side, these are things that we should not, what we are talking about, we should just focus on development. What will actually bring impact to our people, what will actually develop the country, what will actually develop the nation, what will actually give the country a very good name. That's what we should be looking at, but not issue of,
Yeah, what policies do you think can be introduced now to make everybody, every citizen, those in the urban areas, those in the city centers, feel inclusive in governance? And again, let's look at Nigerian youthful population. Do you think Nigerian youthful population is being properly enhanced by the administration?
Well, I can say that we are getting there, because you can't deny the fact that some of the initiatives that have been brought to didn't actually raise to the growth of some youth. So I think it's a process. We're still getting there, but we just need to do more. We just need to do more. But I can tell you categorically, when you're talking of good governance, I can tell you that there are 8 solid characteristics you should look at. You need to actually, any good governance should be participatory. It should be transparent. It should be responsive. It should be responsive, yeah. And also, it should be effective and efficient. It should be equitable and inclusive. And above all, it should follow the rule of law. So these are the kind of things you should look at. And it should be consensus-oriented as well. So these are the kind of things you should look at. Okay, when you want to incite good governance, these are the things you should look at. Little things, but these are solid things you should look at when good governance is being promoted. So not even just the policy, but we should actually change our mindset, because it starts from us. Whatsoever that could be done for the development of this country, it should start from mindset, because it's not just about setting out policies. You can see different times where they breach the law, where when the law is clearly stated, we breach it. So it's not just a matter of policy and all. So, but that's why I mentioned it should be participatory. Participatory in the sense that people should not just be left behind. When policies are being made, they should engage everybody. Stakeholders. You just wake up and see that okay, something have been implemented.
Yes.
Who are these youth stakeholders that are there? It has been said, it is not even been said, it is crystal clear. Any developing nation, the most productive set of people there are the youth, which makes up over 60%. So if things will be done, then they should be carried along. So that sense of belonging is not actually there, and Nigerians are craving for that sense of belonging. So that's what we want.
But do you think an avenue has been created properly? Like you mentioned earlier that, we are getting there, but do you think there are enough avenues? Politics and everything, leadership starts from the grassroots, right?
Course.
So it starts from all the way to the rural communities, and then we get to see our leaders during campaign, even the current FCT minister has embarked on a tour in the whole local government in Rivers State just recently, and then we do not know what he meant to achieve with that tour. If it was a thank you tour, we were not sure of what that is exactly. But looking at that now, do you think avenues have been created from the grassroots for youths to be involved in governance?
Well, I can tell you that if those avenues have been made in place or have been secured, won't be where we are. So that's why I told you it's actually, it's a process, but the process is a very slow process, because whatsoever we're going to do, sometimes I don't just, you can't just come and be blaming the government and whatsoever.
Okay.
Whether we like it or not, the government cannot do everything for us.
Facts.
That's the fact. So what are we going to do as individuals? our mindset. How is our mindset? Is it positive or negative? How are we going to like build a mindset that will actually cushion to the development of the country? It's not about the government. You can't just say and expect development. What idea do you have? What are your creativity insights? You don't have anything to offer.
That means you're talking about skills acquisition now for the youth.
Not even skills acquisition. What I'm trying to say is that our mindset should be shifted to positivity and to the mindset of development.
Okay.
Some youth are just, in fact, that's why you hear this popular saying that maybe the people that want to steal, having the intention to steal, are even more than the people stealing currently.
Wow.
So where are we going to? Where are we heading to? So those are the kind of things we need to tackle. We need to see through all those things, and we need to change our mindset, and also
that means from what you're saying now, you're saying there needs to be a total overhauling and a total reform for the youths alone this time around.
Of course,
yes,
of course. But the government should not actually shift away from their responsibility.
Yes,
they shouldn't cause too much harm to the people. Because history,
that will push people wanting to.
Yes, history and humanity is going to judge them. It's not just about the art. We are leaving the art to another place. So it's better we make judicious use of the opportunity being given to us. And there are people, there are politicians in this country that they can beat their chest in whatsoever case, in all ramifications that yes, they've done well. And we know them. There are people, so what's making other people
not to do well?
In Zamfara, the other day I saw when a House of Assembly member is being beaten up very severely. They brought him out of his car, like, that is so shameful. You were given the opportunity to serve the people. Everything was in place. Incentives are in place. We are doing all those things. There are youthful engagement that I know. We actually enforce with some like-minded youth without any money in place, any incentives. Voluntarily, we've been doing, and all what we are doing, we kept stating, we are creating pathways for youth development.
Yes.
We are not appointed in the government. None of us is a minister of youth. None of us is nothing. But we are creating pathways for the youth.
Yeah. Creating pathways is very key. I know you are someone that is into, you're an entrepreneur aside being a youth advocate and also a public affairs analyst. So from your own small end now within your community, because we spoke of air and you have been on multiple trips in terms of trying to, have youthful engagement and sanitize the youth like what you just mentioned. So how has the experience been thus far?
Well, it has been awesome, and God so kind. We have been moving smoothly, and I can tell you that we have achieved so many giant strides. Like yesterday, we were at Nasani headquarters with the African Regional Representative of the Commonwealth Student Association, which in my capacity I'm his Chief of Staff. We went to Nasani yesterday. All what we echoed was opportunities, pathways for the youth. As at that yesterday, we secured opportunities for youth internship, research.
Within and outside the country?
We are trying to make extension to the African region.
Okay.
But as at now, we're trying to focus on Nigeria because Nigeria is ours. We need to create pathways first in Nigeria, but across border, we are going. There's an initiative that we are going to bring up to extend to Africa. Yesterday, I can tell you, they told us with the relationship we had, as far as the youth is having our endorsement with the letterhead of the African Regional Representative, it will be assured and be given internship. So those are we created research, we spoke about research and all again. So these are opportunities, these are the kind of things. We are not ministers, we are not in any position, but these are the things we are doing. On Monday, we also secured partnership with Gender Foundation to train 5,000 youth across Nigeria and Africa for leadership training, which is going to take place for 6 weeks without paying a dime. The only thing they could do is after the robust and intense leadership training, because there will be alumni of that gender foundation, the only thing is just to pay for your certificate, which is just like $10. It's worth it. So these are the kind of opportunities we are looking for. The youths won't even know how do they get the money to pay professionals, and the professionals that are going to train them, these are foreign trained professionals. Most of them are not from Nigeria, from England, from Australia, So these are the kind of things we are doing. We are not holding any position, but you can see the impact we are trying to So these are the kind of, this is how the journey has been, just like you asked. And we are doing more and willing to do more and more. We are going to make sure we champion the cause of youth development in this country. We are not just advocates, but it is in our mind, it is in our heart. Whatsoever that is good for the youth, whatsoever that could contribute to the growth of the youth, we are here. There is no hiding. We will keep going forward in terms of youth development. That's no doubt about that.
No doubt about that.
I assure you of that.
Yes. Okay, looking at it now, if the government of the day now enhances or takes advantage of the youthful population that we have been blessed with in Nigeria, what do you think the Nigerian ecosystem in terms of in different sectors now? Let's talk about sports, tech, like literally business, everything. How well do you think Nigeria will be able to thrive within now and the next 10 years?
Well, it will be awesome because we have vibrant youth. The youth are intellectual people. It's in the youth space you see people with intellectual mobility. They are fully sagacious, very intelligent, smart, brilliant people. People have these ideas. What the youth needs, just like I said,
platform?
They need a platform. The youth needs skills, infrastructure, and an enabling environment. These are the 3 key things the youth needs. Some of them are intellectually mobile, but the support. They need the support. They need a platform. That's what the youth need. So we need to nurture into the potential of the youth. We need to invest in the youth, like sporadically, not just in a minimal level. Sporadically, we need to, nurture to there. You see, the youth are very, very talented. I assure you. If the youth should be given opportunity, see, some of these here we are over team. That you won't really see it. But there's no opportunity. Some of them now, after NYC, they are very confident. Some people already know that even they have been, like, if they should leave them for over 5 years after NYC, 6, 7, 10 years, they won't get a job. They believe that. And that's why immediately when they finish, they get to all this because they feel they don't have anybody. I don't have connection. You hear people saying that I don't have connection. Like, you understand that kind of thing? Yes. So it makes them discouraged because they feel they don't have a platform. They don't have anybody. So, and these are the things we are neglecting, and it keeps accumulating. And one person cannot do that. And that's why I always advocate for us to change our mindset to the direction of development, to the direction of positivity. Honestly, whatsoever we are going to do, whatsoever we are going to discuss, whatsoever policy we are going to bring today, the main issue is for us to change our mindset. And that is what we are supposed to do.
That's of the equation, changing mindset. Of course. Yeah, we'll be going on a very quick break, and then when we return back, this conversation continues. To stay with us. We'll be right back. Yes, many thanks for staying with us. If you're just joining, this is Discuss here on Global Television. I've been having an interesting conversation around addressing political marginalization in Nigeria. My guest is still here with me in the studio, in the person of Abdullahi Muhammed. Abdullahi, we are having an interesting conversation, and you're very centered around, youth changing their mindset. But now let's come back to the system of Nigeria, which we'll look at what are the systematic, barriers in terms of voting and also sanitization as well for voting. How do you think, you're talking about there have been conversations over electoral reform or a lot of people have even protested in line with that and also protested in line with constitutional review. Yeah. So looking at all of this now, how do you think this change within the system will help and make other individuals from the north, like you mentioned, and some people too from the east and the west, how do you think with the reform coming into place, do you think they will feel included in what's happening within governance?
Well, if reform is being put in place in a very simultaneous way, when a very standard process is being carried out, then verily the people or individuals and citizens will actually feel comfortable to engage in activities and political process. They won't actually be, when there is a standard, not a substandard political reform, there won't be voter apathy and political apathy. I could remember in a book I was reading, in one of the speeches of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. In 1963, when he gave a speech on "Give us the ballot," he said, "Give us the ballot and we will no longer remind the federal government of our basic rights." So that is to tell you that the ballot is one of the basic democratic process of any democratic country or any democratic region. So if there is a peaceful voting and a democratic voting cause, then people will feel fulfilled that they voted their confidence, they voted for the righteous person, they voted for whom they believe in his capacity and pedigree. So that's the kind of process we tend to see in Nigeria, and honestly we are liking behind, and especially in terms of voter apathy and political apathy, just like the 2023 general elections. Yes. The presidential election, when you calculate the votes of all the presidential aspirants, I don't think it's actually more than 20 million, or even if it is more than 20 million, it's not too high. So, in a country of over 200 million people, having just a turnout of 20, so you can see clearly. I think
less than 10% of the number.
Less than 10% of the number. And when you talk of youth, we say youth have population
over
of 60%. So 60% now in that 200 million population, that is over 120 million of youth. So who are not being fully involved? Where are the 100 million youths? Or let's say, even though maybe some don't have voters, some people are not even confident going to have voter card. Some of the youths, they don't even have voter card.
And they don't care.
They never voted. So these are the kind of things we need to make all this reform. It's not going to just be called reform, but let it be an effective reform.
Okay.
Effective reform that people will actually see to it and let it come to actualization.
Okay.
Yeah.
So looking at it now, from the statistics and the little maths we just solved here now, do you think that those youths that don't have voters card and did not go to vote, do you think they should be also involved in this conversation of marginalization, given the fact that you have the right to vote, you have the right to choose who you want to lead you, and if you don't get to do that, do you think there is a need for you to step up and come out protesting with placards saying you need change and you need to be involved in governance?
Well, as I said earlier, there are no good or bad leaders, but informed and uninformed electorate. Okay. So we are carrying the cost of voting the leaders. If we don't vote, then we should not complain of bad leaders. So I think we now have the responsibility. Youth should wake up, stand up, upright, to go get their voters card. They should get registered so that at least there will be high percentage of votes. If I think the original are okay, the government is giving a sense of activities that will bring about the voter apathy and whatsoever. Then even with that, if there's no solution, then we should know that yes, we have a responsibility to carry out the democratic process. So if we want to actually achieve that, if we want to throw out leaders, the weapon is the voters card. We can only throw them out through voting. So then we have that responsibility. What are we waiting for? See, we can't just stay. We've stayed for 4 years, another 4 years. No. Then you should know. In politics, it's high time we stop doing what doesn't work for us in politics, and which I refer to as political lobotomy. So we should just side away that. Then we should now look at what will actually work. Let's try it and see. If we don't strike out leaders that are not actually having capacity and they are not actually doing what they're supposed to do. So this is what we're supposed to do.
All right. Okay. In those lights, now let's go back to the constitution review, which the president has actually looked into, and he had a lot of individuals, top-class individuals, coming to advocate for a change to happen within the 1999 Constitution. Do you think that there is something like some loopholes, though we've mentioned, and a lot of persons have highlighted that there are lots of loopholes, and some lawyers have actually tagged the Constitution a lie because it started with "we the people," and then they come out to defend and say "we the people never agreed." Do you think a change in the Constitution can help with individuals having this sensitization first of being included because there's a change from the Constitution?
So that is where the problem is coming from. Just like I told you, we're in a country whereby certain decisions are being made without the involvement of people, specifically the youth. Most of the people carrying out these decisions are the elite. So we need to actually have a situation whereby if decisions are being taken, if there will be a review or any law and whatsoever, they should form a town hall so that they will sit in a round table, let everybody agree to the fact that, yes, because we are the most populated, and a set of people in the country. So we should be involved in all this process. So when people are left behind in carrying out processes, this is what happened. That's why you get to see loopholes, because they try to do things that will actually benefit them. Yes. You understand, but not to the benefit of the people. So, and that's why we need people, we need youth, we need everybody, women and the elite. Everybody should come together. We are not saying that they should not be part of the decision, but we should get involved as Nigerian youth. Okay. Yeah.
Getting involved as Nigerian youth is actually very, very critical in terms of when citizens are excluded. The consequences are far-reaching. Unrepresentative governments, weak policies, and a loss of public trust. Marginalization affects not just elections, but the very legitimacy of democracy. Now, let's talk about public trust now, because it's very important and it's very key, because a lot of people do not believe in the system. Mostly when it comes to voting, voters registration, disbursement of card, and the key thing is on the election. That's talking about corruption and election rigging. Now, there's a lot of work that is going to be done starting from next month here in the capital, and then moving towards 2027 where we'll be having a lot of elections. Let's talk about INEC quickly and, voter electoral reform, voters registration and all. What sensitization do you think INEC needs to do now within their system, though the current INEC chairman has made mention of the fact that electoral results will be transmitted electronically. We saw that happen in the previous election 2023, and then at some point we heard that the machines failed and all of that.
A lot of money was spent.
Yes. So looking at it now, that is more than enough for the public to lose trust in the system. How can a common Nigerian man in the market now a common woman in the market that's, that has been crying of fuel subsidy removal, that has been crying of high transportation costs, that has been crying of high cost of food items. How can this system now, how can these people trust the system? What can the system do to help win their trust back from the citizens of Nigeria?
Well, I can tell you that the trust in individuals won't actually be there. That is the truth. Okay. Because this is 2026, anything that will be done is just like, okay, people will just see it as an eye service towards the election. But if you're talking of reform should be incited before
any election cycle concludes.
Of course, yes. They should be talking about it, not just when election comes. So if election comes, what time do you have to do all those things? That's the time people will lobby, try to bribe INEC officials and whatever. So in terms of trust, I can tell you, with full confidence, people are not going to trust the process, and that's why I'm saying we should take the responsibility to come out. We have that mandate, so that, and the thing is that the government should do justice as well, so that all things that need to protect citizens and properties should be put in place. The security measures should be put in place, no compromise, because we have seen elections whereby security agencies are being used to compromise elections and whatsoever. So this needs to stop. So these are the kind of, I think, even though INEC are going to do any form of sensitization, it's to sensitize themselves first in terms of compromise.
Compromise, yes.
Not just the people. What are they going to tell the people? The people know how to vote. They will take themselves to the election ground. They will do everything. Not the INEC provide all those things. So what the INEC should provide the people is to actually condole a peaceful poll, a credible poll. That is what they are in. And it's there in their core values. That is what they tend to achieve.
Yes.
So I think it's not about people to be sensitized.
Yes.
We know how to vote.
It's about the system.
You get the ballot paper, you put in the ink,
the top
and
print.
the top print.
Yes.
That's just it. So the sensitization, they should sensitize themselves, them, the INEC, because they are the ones causing the problem. They are the ones, you can see the wreck during 2023 election in Adamawa. Before the election, he already
saying the results are out.
Announced.
Yes.
You understand? So he's an official, senior official. He is being projected in national television. His children are seeing it, his grandchildren are seeing it. I had President Goodluck Jonathan, he said maybe in this Abuja one day we'll have a very big building so that those people that place Nigeria in problem, people that sabotage the development of Nigeria, their pictures will be on the wall so that their grandparents, their grandchildren and children will actually come here one day and see it like a museum. Very, very unfortunate. Yeah. Very, very unfortunate, honestly. So we just need to...
So what are the solutions? Now we're getting set to wrap up. So what are the solutions now for Nigerians and for youth? Like you mentioned one earlier, you said youth need to sanitize themselves first. And you made a statement that was very striking around the fact where you said those that are planning to steal are much more than those that are, stealing already. So what solutions are there for, the government and also for private organizations to sanitize the entire system?
Well, I believe that currently in Nigeria we have a very, very good rules. We have policies, yes, that if actually put in place, it will lead to development.
Properly implemented.
Of course. So one of the major things is our leaders should learn to follow the rule of law. And that's why part of the solid characteristics of good governance that I mentioned, I stated the rule of law last, and that is above all.
Yeah.
Those are the things our leaders need to look at. Because one of the major things is law. We don't follow the law. We make the law, we don't follow the law. You can imagine people that are there making that law, they are the ones still deviating from the law.
Saying that that means the law is not applicable to them, it's just applicable to some certain individuals.
Everything we do is all about paperwork, policy.
Yes.
But why are we following the policy? So that is one of the major things. That's why when you talk about solutions, see, when there are, me, I don't tend to like scale like to like various problems. What's the major thing?
Yes.
Major thing. That's what is.
Where do you cut the cancer from?
That's the major thing. So these are the places we're having loopholes. Loopholes are there in the rules. Like you see judges compromising
The judiciary
cases and all. So we have a responsibility, and I still stand by my words. Mindset is key. It's not easy when they get bribes and whatever. I know, I understand the situation of the country. Things are not balanced. But we need to have a working system. That is it. We can't continue like this because honestly, a lot of people are in a very poor state. So and we need to and out of that kind of situation.
Okay, we need to uplift and get that kind of situation. But Abdullahi, you as a youth and also a youth advocate and a public affairs analyst, give us your final take within the subject matter and how to encourage youth to, what steps they need to take in terms of, sanitizing themselves so as they would be able to be properly included in governance, and when opportunity comes for them to pass down that same knowledge, they would be able to do that. So just give us your final take as we set to wrap up.
One thing I believe is that I believe Nigerian youths are very, very capable of taking and giant strides. They are very, very capable in holding leadership positions. But I still need to caution them, caution myself, caution everybody in the youth space.
Yes.
So one of the issues is that, compromising issues is actually something that, people do, and our youth gets like to be compromised. These are the kind of things. We should set values. We should set our goals. We should stand by what is right. We should always be righteous. I know most of all these things are not going to stop, but let's try to reduce it to a minimal level. So I believe Nigerian youth, and also I want Nigerian youth to take the charge of having that responsibility to vote. We shall shun voter apathy, even though we've been having voter apathy, we shall shun it in 2027 because you can't, every day you see the youths complaining. Are we not going out of these issues? So how can we go out of these issues? Let's go there, vote, and we feel we are confident enough we can even go for a position, then we should go. Just that, politics is very expensive. They have made things so difficult. In fact, some of the things the youths are doing today, it's not actually their fault. Things are very difficult. Somebody have not eaten for like days. Someone will tell you that he just drank water for like 3 days. So I can't even imagine that, because I've never been in a situation whereby I've not eaten for like a day.
That's if you're not fasting. 2 days.
Yeah, of course, even though I'm fasting, there's a time for me to break my fast.
Yes.
But you can imagine a situation whereby someone will tell you that he has not eaten for, oh my God, a certain amount, self that somebody will tell you to help me. Somebody will tell you 500, or you will just, sometimes you just feel like to cry because of the situation we're living in. Yes. A graduate with a degree, NYC, some even with a master's, having nothing. So it's very, very unfortunate. So I actually caution our leaders to actually do what they're supposed to do. They should do what is right, and they should try to uplift the young ones, because we are looking up to them. They shouldn't be leaders that we are looking up to them and they will be doing things that they are not supposed to do. We should not, everybody should not shy away from his responsibility. Everybody has a cost to carry. So I think that is one of my major advice for the youths, and I believe if we go with all this direction, we are going to succeed and we'll do well by the special grace of God.
Yes, inshallah, we will get to do very well. And then that's just how much time will permit us to take. I want to say a very big thank you to you for taking our time to join us on today's edition of Discuss. And we're hoping that the government and everybody in charge will be able to create avenues for all voices to be heard, and individuals' voice should be counted. My name is Samuel Odi. I want to say a big thank you to the entire production crew for making this production seamless. I'll see you again as we discuss further. Bye for now.